Request from the funding for Warren Heritage Society, the town manager. Would you give us the overview, please?
Yes, yes, Vice Mayor. We have receipt of a letter from Connie Marshall, the Executive Director of Warren Heritage Society, requesting a donation of $15,000. She is also here if you would like to speak to her as well. This request is something standard, as it has been, pretty standard request since we started this back in 2014, I think.
Yes, would you like to speak?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you come up to
Okay.
name and address, please?
Connie Marshall, 804 Rodney Avenue. And I'm the executive director, the new executive director of the Warren Heritage Society, which has been without an executive director for all practical purposes for almost 2 years. So I'm currently drinking out of the fire hose, getting oriented to what needs to be done. But one of the things that I do know is that we couldn't make it without your help, because we're a teeny tiny organization. I'm assuming you've been given copies of our budget that we sent you. And we have not been having a growth pattern for the last couple of years. But we really depend upon the waiver of the electric costs that we get from you. Even so, we still have to spend about $3,000 or $4,000 on utilities because one of our buildings is heated with oil. But we have done everything we can to work with you. A couple of years ago, there was a request that we introduce some more energy efficient lighting. We did that. We put in LED lights. Unfortunately, I just looked this morning at the 2018 energy use, and it didn't make that much difference. We lower the temperature in my building now to 58 every night, and believe me, it was cold this morning. But we do everything we can to work with you. And they're old buildings. They don't have insulation. They can't have insulation. Well, we could insulate attics. That's a big ticket item that we haven't got the funding for. So it's a kind of a catch-22. You want the historical buildings because you want them preserved for posterity, but they weren't built to the standards of today's energy efficiency. We do provide a great service to Warren County and Front Royal. 4,000 people visited us in 2017, which was the last time I put the numbers together when I prepared the letter. We have about 1,000 people a year who come to us for genealogical help. We have all the archives of Warren County, so we keep the memory of Front Royal alive throughout the country. We get inquiries from all over the place. Our facilities are historic buildings, 4 historic buildings, and the Ivy Lodge, which was the original Sandwood Library, which has a permanent exhibit. Just recently, at our last board meeting, we voted to increase the tour price of the buildings that we give the historic tours, but we did not add any price to the tour of the Ivy Lodge Museum, because, as we said at the board meeting, this is the history of Warren County. This is the history of Front Royal. This has to be available to everybody. So there's no admission price for that history, for that self-guided tour. So anyhow, we have lectures through the year, more planned. We have a history camp for kids in the summer, where this year we're really focusing on bringing kids into the museum, get them interested in history, connect somehow with kids and get them more involved in history, to be aware of it, to like it. So that's what we're doing, and we are hoping that you will look with favor upon our request for the $15,000 waiver of electric costs. And I'm ready to answer any questions anybody may have.
Hi, I'm Latasha Thompson, and I'm new on the council. And a little bit of background, like I review impact grants for United Way, so I have a couple of questions. If you do not get funding for this, what is the result of not getting any funding? If you don't get anything today, what happens?
Well, we would be seriously having to rearrange what we're planning to spend money on. We have got to. We just today incurred about a $1,000 plumbing bill because when you have old buildings, you got old plumbing.
Right.
And they showed me the cast iron pipe that they took out, and you could barely get a thumb, you know, a toothpick in the space.
Wow.
So every time you turn around, there's something else that needs to be done. We have lots of cracked windows, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We want to keep repairing it, but that money would not be there to maintain our properties if we had to budget it for electricity.
Have you reached out to any other organizations or government bodies, maybe the Board of Supervisors or anything like that?
I have made the same request to the Board of Supervisors, yes indeed.
Because my thing with this is an operational expense. You're not asking us to fund like programming or something that enriches. You're asking for an operational expense, and if you were a business and you couldn't pay your electric bill, we're not doing anything. We have residents who cannot afford their electric bills now, and we don't have funds set aside for them. So I just don't think it's a fair request in that regard.
No,
And
I
their bills
understand.
are going to be higher because this month we're down at like 7 and 8 degrees. So, and then when people call and they say they can't pay their bill, we're not like, hey, we got an extra 15,000. We'll pay your bill for you. So that's my only issue, that it's an operational expense.
No, I understand, and I used to be on the United Way board too, so I know the heartbreak when you can't help. The only thing I'd say in response is that because we haven't had an executive director for the past couple of years, there hasn't been any fundraising program in place. I am hoping to change that, but as you know, there's a lead time to ramp up to get any return.
Yeah, that
If you
definitely
had
has to
any-
be a priority.
It is, believe me. If you have any leads, by all means, I welcome them. I welcome them. And the other thing I'd say in response is that we do provide a service for Front Row.
Right.
And if we weren't there, I mean, the library sends us people because we have the information that they don't have. So we do help. We're just a couple, a block down from the visitor center, so we help increase the flow. Visitors have something more to do. They enjoy coming to see us. So we do give something in return. It's not a total.
I have all kinds of questions, I'm sorry. And seasonally, do you close for any period of time, or are you open 365 almost?
In the past, we have, well, I don't know what the distant past is.
Okay, yeah,
Since
yeah.
I came in November, they were open 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning March 30th, we have a big Heritage Day, March 30th, open genealogy, a lecture, and then a tea. Beginning then, we will be open on Saturdays until November. So we will be having Saturday hours beginning.
I was kind of wondering if there could be a couple months maybe where it's like really slow, or looking at your trends and maybe not function at those times, or you're down, like your down season. Maybe even charging for the Ivy Lodge, like a small fee or something, but yeah, fundraising needs to kick off.
Yeah. No, we do winterize the old Bolfus House. The Bolfus House is the oldest standing structure in Front Royal in its original location. And we just last week I had the town turn off the water there. We put antifreeze in the pipes just to keep it through the winter. So if people want tours in the winter, they wear their coats anyhow. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
but closing down seasonally, the difficulty with closing for a month at a time or for a long period of time is that people depend on you being there. And they communicate with us all through the year, and they travel to visit their family at Christmas, or so whenever they come, we kind of got to be able to help them. We just had somebody actually yesterday who was working with a TV station doing a research project on the Underground Railway. And if we hadn't been there and been open on Monday, they wouldn't have been able to come because they were all in town that day.
Okay, because I know that our goal is to try to get out of doing this every single year. It's actually increased over the years from 10,000 to 15,000.
I
So
appreciate the problem.
if anything, I would suggest a reduced amount.
Well, if the county comes through with their share, that would be okay.
Jake?
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I was just a quick question about the finances. The $15,000 that we used to offset the utilities, is that included in the budget amount that you have for 2019? Because this is an actual, this is just your budget for 2019,
That's the
right?
budget.
So you have $18,000 in there for the budget. Is the $15,000 you're requesting already shown in the revenue line, the income?
No, it's not shown in the revenue line. We're not presumption that way.
Okay. I'll just have a wrap-up statement once everybody else asks their questions.
Anybody else?
Well, I was just wondering, hi,
Hi.
what, how much are you all requesting from the board of supervisors, and what was their response?
I go before them next Tuesday, so I haven't had a response from them yet. I requested the same amount. I figured if I asked you both the same, then if each of you came through with half, we'd be okay.
But they declined last year, right?
They weren't actually asked properly in the past. This is what I had learned when I met with them. They actually hadn't gotten the request in the way it should have gone in for probably a couple of years, based upon what I can tell.
But historically, they haven't given any money.
That's correct.
Thank you for coming in. I voted for this the last couple of years.
Thank you.
But I do see the point that Councilman Latasha Thompson had brought up. I would like to see also that I was cut in half this year. You know, we're facing some budget issues ourselves here in the town, and it's kind of tough to pick up costs like this.
No, I understand. I understand. It's tough for us. We are
You
increasing.
guys do a great service for us as far as the archives and the records and stuff like that. That's
Thank you. Thank you. Because we are increasing the day, so that's adding to our expense. That makes any difference.
Anybody else? I had a couple of concerns.
Yes, sir.
Last year at this time, I brought forth, I have constituents that come to me, why are you giving $15,000 away when I have an electric bill I can't pay? That's an issue. The second concern I had was that I said publicly right here in this chair, what are you doing with grants and trying to offset some of your costs?
Well, is that the question? Last year, there wasn't anybody in charge. They had, the previous executive director left in like October of 2017. They hired somebody in August this year who left in September, or something like, maybe October, something like that. And so there's been a vacuum. So the answer is, due to circumstances beyond our control, so beyond mine or yours, there wasn't anybody in charge of that. Hopefully, that's changing now with me. And that's what I'm intending to do, identifying potential funding sources and pursuing grant money is my #1 priority.
Okay.
That was all the questions I had for you. Thank you for coming. I know it's hard to ask for money, so thank you for doing that.
Well, I don't take it personally, but it's all for the good of Front Royal. So
Yeah, of course.
we give you a favor too.
We have no doubt, each of us sitting here know that organization, we know what it does. You know, our heart goes out to it as well, but we have constituents that ask questions and they want to know why, you know, we would give $15,000 for an electric bill.
Yeah, I understand, But it's not going to an electric bill, it's going to the preservation of the history of Front Royal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, I just wanted to reiterate the point that was made last year, which I still would like to see this council move towards, which is, I made a statement last year at this time, in May of last year, that I think that there are some worthy organizations that deserve some sort of break or incentive or even funds from town council, but I asked that we create some sort of criteria or application process and put aside a certain fund that we can afford in our budget, and then Natasha brought up the United Way, like that.
I brought a sample one.
Decide.
Edit.
Oh, perfect. Well, just to decide how much money we have and how much we have to give away. Because oftentimes I feel so bad, like I want to be able to give the money that's requested, but we don't even have a formal budget necessarily for this, nor do we have the organization set up that we're going to be able to say this one, that one, and the other one, but not discriminate against others that are requesting it. So as we start to formalize our budget for the end of 2019, I'd like to request that, one, we decide on the total amount that we can afford in our budget, and then continue to vet out the application process so that we can kind of merit decide who gets the money.
Tasha, thoughts?
Oh, I agree with Jake, and I had pulled out the impact grant forms that we use, and there's a rating system where you rate different things like 1 through 5, and you kind of see where they land on the scale, and it goes to fund, don't fund, partially fund.
Joe, does that sound like something that you could consider and come back to us?
Yeah, I'll have to get the information from
Right.
him, but yeah. I guess at the end of the day, yeah, we can proceed that way, and then council can determine what that dollar reg number, I think the value is in budget.
Is that something we need to decide tonight or going forward? You need that information?
Not at this moment.
I'm for a partial maybe this year, but I'm really concerned about them having a grant. We have matched grants before. And no disrespect to you, but I asked for that last year and it didn't come forward this year.
How far out, or we're a few months before we have kind of more of the preliminary budget, right?
No, we'll be giving you a budget February 1st.
Okay. I would be in a better spot to make a decision after we have some general numbers to see what we're doing. Because I feel a lot of anxiety of where this budget's going to shake out.
Okay, what I hear you all say is come up with some guidelines. We will give you some direction on dollar amounts going forward if we're going to do that. So, does that sound feasible?